This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, November the 30th, is a two-sport athlete who is legendary for his two-sport action in both baseball and football. He was named to the All-Star game in the glove sport. Yes, he was a college football player. He did play college baseball as well. But he went to baseball, to the big boys, Major League Baseball and the NFL. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, but no other Hall of Fames for some stupid reason. Anyway, his football career ended in 91 because of a hip injury, but he still played baseball and recovered with an artificial hip. He actually appeared in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Married with Children. I'll talk about the Married with Children cameo later. But anyway, Bo knows this one because it is Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson turned 60 years old today. Bo Jackson was the eighth of 10 children and raised in Alabama. He actually was picked in the baseball draft in the second round by the New York Yankees in 1982, but he promised his mother that he would go to a major college, so he went to Auburn on a football scholarship. Auburn, of course, being the second big university in Alabama, next to, the eponymous Alabama Crimson Tide. He was a good running back and all that. He ran for over 4,000 yards with Auburn, which was the fourth best in SEC history. He helped Auburn win the Tangerine Bowl against Boston College. As a sophomore, he picked up 7.7 yards per carry, which was the second best average in SEC history. Picked up 256 yards in the game against Alabama in the Iron Bowl, which was amazing. They won the Sugar Bowl that year. In his junior year, he helped Auburn beat Arkansas. Blech. Anyhow, he put up 1,786 yards in his senior season running and won the Heisman Trophy, which was close to being the closest margin of victory for a while, just beating Chuck Long of Iowa. Anyway, he did pretty well for Auburn. Auburn retired as number 34 in 1992. The only three players to have their numbers retired. He was Pat Sullivan's number 7 and Pat Sullivan's favorite receiver, Terry Beasley, number 88. Butch Cam Newton got his number retired. But anyway, Jackson was made number 8 on the top 25 players in college football history list in 2007, though. So he did good. He played baseball and all that and had to miss a lot of his senior season because Tampa visited him, and that was a violation of NCAA rules and all that. So Bo Jackson did what he could and all that. So now comes the two-sport aspect of it. Tampa Bay signed him with the number 1 pick in the 86th NFL draft. It was Bo Jackson. He was a legend. But he refused to play for them because if he visited team facility, because the visit to team facilities the Buccaneers said was NCAA approved was actually not, which meant that he couldn't play college baseball. And he was so upset with Tampa, and I guess because of Hugh Coverhouse, that the owner, that he decided to play baseball instead. And Jackson believed that the Bucs wanted him to play football instead of baseball. He didn't want to play with Tampa. He kept his foul and then opted to play for Kansas City, who drafted him in the 4th round of the 86 draft. Surprised that he wasn't drafted higher. But anyway, Jackson signed a 3-year deal with the Royals. And in 1989, he was the starting outfielder, one of the starting outfielders for the AL in California at Angel Stadium. He came up to the plate in the bottom of the 1st, just after catching a line drive by Pedro Guerrero, which would have scored a couple of runs. So he led off the bottom of the 1st. Vin Scully was in the booth for NBC alongside Ronald Reagan. Yes, the former President Ronald Reagan, who talked about his baseball days and all that. He put up a 448-foot home run off of Rick Russell of the Giants, went into the center field covered seats, and Vince Scully said, "Look at that one. Bo Jackson says hello." And then Wade Boggs hit a home run of his own right after that. Anyway, Jackson would go 2 for 4 at the All-Star game, score a run, and get 2 RBIs. So anyway, Bo Jackson just couldn't do much. All that. He was decent and all that. But you know, he was still doing pretty well for that. He was still doing well for Kansas City. But Kansas City didn't want to pay his salary to rehab his football injury, which I'll talk about. They decided to say, screw it. He was released. However, the White Sox, a couple weeks later, gave him a 3-year deal, promising performance-based stuff. I mean, Jerry Reinsdorf, the White Sox owner, figured that he wasn't going to play much. But he did. He played 23 games in 1991 and 85 games in 93. And, you know, with an artificial hip, he shocked everyone by hitting a home run in his first at-bat after the surgery, which he delivered on April 9th, 1993, my 8th birthday. He hit a home run in the right field. It was amazing and all that. He went to play for the Angels in 94 and all that. And Jackson retired from baseball at age 32. In his 8 seasons, he would be a .250 batting average. But he did get 141 home runs, which wasn't half bad. 89, he was actually 4th in home runs and RBI in the American League. What might have been if he was healthy. So yeah, he did okay. Now let's talk about football because of the whole Tampa Bay shenanigans. He refuses to play Tampa. Tampa would forfeit his rights before the 87 draft. And Bo Jackson found out that he was drafted in the 87 draft, but he was drafted in the 7th round by the Raiders. Surprised that he wasn't drafted higher, like even in the 4th round. Jackson said he wanted to continue to focus on baseball and would not sign. However, Jackson would sign a 5-year, $7.4 million deal with the Raiders, in which Jackson would be permitted to play the entire baseball season and would report to the Raiders once the baseball season was finished, even if it meant missing the start of the season. So anyway, he missed the first 7 weeks of the season, his first season, because of the baseball thing, and then came back against the Patriots. This was 87. This was the year they went with replacement players. But his most notable performance of his rookie season was Monday Night Football, Week 12 against the Seahawks at the Kingdome. He was insulted by Brian Bosworth, who was this hot shit rookie, if you will, and promised to contain Jackson. But Jackson ran over Bosworth on his way to a touchdown near the goal line, and then put up a 91-yard run, outrunning Bosworth and Kenny Easley to do it. He put up 221 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns, even caught a touchdown pass. So it was amazing what he could do. He got 554 yards on only 81 carries. But mind you, he did miss a lot of the season. He only played in 7 games. So that's about, if I do the math right, that's about close to 80 yards a game. So if he did the full 16 games, he would have hit the 1,000-yard mark. Just you. Love you. Anyway, Jackson's 1989 season was the best. Only playing 11 games because of baseball, he ran for 950 yards. Well, Bo Jackson looked good. He was running the ball for the Raiders at home against the Bengals in the divisional round. But unfortunately, a routine tackle ruined his hip and all that, and he couldn't play football again. He did go to play baseball, but still, it wasn't huge. Well, you know, the injury to the left hip and all that. He popped his hip back into the socket, but it damaged the blood vessel supplying blood to the hip. All that. There was a death of some bone tissue. But you know, then he got his artificial hip in '93. Well, '92 before hitting home run in '93. So he only played 38 regular season games with 2,782 yards and 16 touchdowns. What might have been if he actually played full seasons. He almost got 1,000 yards in 1989. But you know, Bo is popular in many other things. There was this commercial for Bo Knows for Nike, in which, you know, he tries to take up other sports like tennis, golf, luge, auto racing, ice hockey, and blues music. And then people like McEnroe, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky would comment in the video, in the commercial. And then he tried to play music with Bo Diddley and said, it was Scola Jackson said, you don't know Diddley. Anyway. But his number one thing is video games. He was called the greatest athlete in video game history because he was featured in Tecmo Super Bowl for the NES. It was basically all about Untalkable. And players would move Bo all the way back to his 1 yard line, then run 99 yards with defenders bouncing off of him. Yeah, and then I know Family Guy did that. They showed about Bo Jackson and all that. Bo Jackson actually has his own video game for the Game Boy. Bo Jackson's Hit and Run, involving baseball and football. Bo Jackson was in NFL Street 2. I think I remember that. Bo Jackson Baseball for the NES. Then Bo Jackson came through a couple of Maddens. And yes, Bo Jackson was a character in Pro Stars, you know, that cartoon that had Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and Bo Jackson in it. But they didn't voice it themselves, of course. So yeah, he was definitely into acting and all that. He got his Bachelor of Science degree in Family and Child Development at Auburn. The Raiders still sell Bo Jackson number 34 jerseys. On TV, he was actually a sports radio jockey of Married with Children. It's the episode in which Al is prohibited from entering a radio contest to win tickets for the Atlanta Olympics. And so he gets Griff to answer the questions for him. Like he would whisper the questions and all that. Griff is a big hero for winning the competition and even gets to carry the torch. Even though Al is upset because, you know, he helped Griff out. So Bo makes the appearance and all that, talk to Griff and all that. And there's even a scene at the end of the episode in which Bo talks to, I guess it was Roy Jones Jr. Who was the other guy? Who was the other guy in that one? I can't remember. And then Marcy, who they thought was Bruce Jenner. And, you know, that's funny because it actually inadvertently led to Bruce Jenner's sex change. Anyway, Jackson is married to a rehab counselor and has 3 children. And they live in Illinois. Bo Jackson threw out the ceremony first pitch before Game 2 of the 2005 World Series, which the White Sox won on a walk-off by Mr. Scott Pozandek. So, anyway, Bo's an ambassador for the White Sox. And he actually refers to himself in the third person, but mostly because he has a severe stutter, which made him difficult to say I. So I guess that's why Bo knows Bama, Bo knows everything. And Bo knows how to be a great video game athlete and be a 2-sport star, which usually never happens anymore. Stupid. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.